Hey there, come on in, pull up a rock. Seriously, just take a breath for a second. You look absolutely exhausted. It's your Uncle Torak here. Yeah, I know. The hair is a mess, the beard is a bit wild, and I'm rocking this green wristband like it's the latest trend. But we're family, and I can see that look in your eyes. You're stressed, aren't you? You've got deadlines, pings, notifications, and that constant feeling that you're running out of time. Well, just for now, let's forget all that. No phones, no clocks, just the sound of the wind. Back in my day, we had all the time in the world. We only worked maybe 15 hours a week, just enough to grab some fresh berries and maybe a nice fish from the stream. The rest of the time, we were just, being. We were living. But listen, since you're here, I've got to tell you something. And honestly, it's a heavy one. I need to tell you how we got scammed. I need to tell you about the moment we lost everything, the scam that changed our DNA forever. It's time to set the record straight. Let's talk about the lie. Look at the person sitting next to you. Look at yourself in the mirror. You've been told that you're the peak of human progress, the march of progress, where everything gets better. But as your Uncle Torak, I'm telling you, you're looking at a crime scene. There's been a massive heist, and the victim was your freedom, the theft of the one thing that made us gods of the earth. The history books tell you that farming was an upgrade. They say we became smarter and more successful. That is a lie. If you look at the forensics, the ancient burial pits my people left behind, the evidence is terrifying. When we were hunters, we were tall and robust. We had bones like iron, but the second we settled down to farm, our skeletons started screaming. We shrank by several inches. Our spines began to curve under the weight of the labor. Our bones became brittle. For the first time in history, our teeth literally started rotting in our jaws from all that grain. We didn't step into a golden age, we walked into a 10,000-year prison sentence. We traded our health for a cage made of wheat. We gave away our peak biology, trapped in the dirt, working until the end. I'm telling you this as family. It hurts to see. This was the greatest mistake we ever made, and the bones don't lie. So, why? Why did we do it? What was so special about that grain? Now, here's the mystery that should keep you up at night. Why would any sane person choose this? Think about the trade-off. It's the worst deal in human history. As a hunter-gatherer, I had a 5-star diet. I ate hundreds of different plants and lean, wild game. I had more leisure time than a modern billionaire. I wasn't some primitive who didn't understand how the world worked. I saw seeds grow every spring. I knew exactly how it worked. I saw the green sprouts popping up through the dirt. I knew if I put a seed in the ground, a plant would follow. So why did my people spend 200,000 years looking at the miracle of farming and choosing to walk away? Why did we keep walking every single time? What did we know that you've forgotten? We knew that the moment you plant a seed and say, "This is my land," everything changes. You stop being a king of the wilderness, and you start being a servant to the dirt. You are tied to that spot. You can't leave your investment. We refused it because we valued our time more than our stuff. We valued the ability to follow the sun and the herds. We valued the sleep we got under the trees. But the pressure was building, things were changing, society was changing around us. Groups were getting bigger, the world was getting crowded. Arguments over who owned what were starting to happen. The freedom of the open world was shrinking. And eventually, someone found a way to reel us in. They found a hook that we couldn't ignore, a reason to stay put that was stronger than our love of travel. But it wasn't a good reason, it was a trap disguised as a gift. Let's look at the evidence of when we first started to play with fire. Your history books tell you we discovered farming 10,000 years ago, like it was some sudden light bulb moment. That is a total fairy tale. The smoking gun was found at a real-world site called Ohalo II, Israel by the Sea of Galilee, 23,000 years ago. Archaeologists dug up evidence showing that we were actually grinding and processing wild grain way before the first farmers ever existed. We found stone tools used specifically for grain, and it wasn't just a snack, it was organized, it was intentional. That means for 13,000 years, we knew the secret. We knew we could plant the fields, we knew we could build the barns, we had the tech, we had the brains, and for 13,000 years we said, no thanks. We looked at the seeds and chose to walk away. We treated farming like a plague, like a cage we weren't ready to enter. We looked at the grains and we looked at our freedom, and we chose freedom every single time. We were farming literate for longer than civilization has even existed. We were the masters of our environment, and we stayed hunters because we weren't ready to give up our souls to the harvest. We knew the price of the plow. So, what finally broke us? How did the trap finally slam shut? How did the lure finally catch the kings of the world? So how did they catch us? They didn't use a cage, they used a lure. It was something we actually wanted, something that felt like a gift. It started with a party. History calls it the feasting model. The big men of the tribes realized they could buy social power. They didn't grow grain to survive, they grew it to brew massive vats of beer. It was a social flex, a way to make everyone else owe you a favor. And boy, did we take the bait. We loved the party. We stayed in one place just a little longer to finish the brew. But then, something called the biological ratchet clicked into place. And once it clicks, there is no going back. Because we had extra grain, we had a massive surplus of calories. And calories mean babies. Our population exploded. We went from a few dozen people to thousands in just a few generations. And suddenly, the forest couldn't feed us anymore. There weren't enough deer or berries left to support the crowd we'd created. We were trapped by our own numbers. If we stopped farming for even one season, everyone would starve. The wheat didn't serve us, it domesticated us. It forced us to live in cramped, dirty huts year-round. No more moving with the seasons, no more fresh air. This was the moment crowd diseases were born. Smallpox and the flu jumped from our new farm animals to us. We were living in our own waste, and the price was our health. We traded our nomadic souls for a pile of grain. The work went from 15 hours a week to 60 or 70. Our backs began to bend, our joints began to ache, and there was absolutely no way out. We were the prisoner kings of a golden empire. Wheat had won the war without firing a single shot. It caught the kings of the world with a drink and a promise, the moment the trap finally slammed. We looked back at the forest, but we couldn't go home. This became our new, exhausted normal. Our DNA began to shift to handle the starch and the stress. The cost of civilization was everything we used to be, and that's how we ended up here, working for the grain. Every time you wake up to an alarm clock, every time you feel the walls of a cubicle closing in, you're feeling the weight of that 10,000-year-old mistake. We didn't choose progress. We were lured by a party and locked in by our own numbers. You aren't evolving away from the cave, kiddo. You're still just serving a life sentence in the trap we built for ourselves. You're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week just to maintain a system that my people would have laughed at. But hey, you're still family. And as long as you can hear my voice, you can remember that there's another way to see the world. Don't let them tell you that this was inevitable. It was a choice. Stay curious, keep looking for the exit, because the story they told you is a fairy tale, but the reality, you are history.